welcome to BT Podcasts. In this episode, find out how DBS Foundation sees aging societies as an opportunity to do right by people and help everyone have longer living spans. This podcast is produced in collaboration with DBS.
Aging societies are often seen as a problem, a silver tsunami to be feared. But what if we reframe this challenge as an opportunity for dignity, purpose, and joy? What can be done to empower people from youth to seniors and create a truly supportive and vibrant society for all? Welcome to BT Podcast by the Business Times. I'm Howie Lim, and joining us today is Karen Ngui, Managing Director and Head, DBS Foundation and DBS Group's Strategic Marketing and Communications. Karen, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're hearing a lot about aging these days as societies get older. People often describe aging as something to fear, a problem that needs to be solved. But you folks at DBS Foundation, you see it differently, right? How does changing the way we talk about aging open up new possibilities for all of us?
Yeah, well, the fact is, Singapore and many countries in Asia are rapidly aging. In a month's time, Singapore will be super aged. 1 in 5 Singaporeans would be age 65 and above. This is the new reality, and we have to find a way to harness this demographic dividend that is upon us. If you look at the population pyramid, in the past, it's a traditional pyramid. There are more younger people than there are older people. But given the way societies have evolved, that pyramid will be almost like inverted. We'll have more older people than younger people. People are living longer, especially in Singapore. We're one of the blue zones. The average lifespan is about 80 plus. Retirement age right now is in the 60s. So there's a good 20 years between formal retirement to when it's time to cross that rainbow bridge out there. There's a lot of resource, energy, experience out there that can be harnessed, that should be harnessed. And the traditional mindsets about aging being a burden needs to be revisited. There needs to be a paradigm shift. So when we talk about aging, typically we think of older people, and that's not incorrect. However, I think the opportunity that's upon us is aging societies. From the time someone is born, the youth of today will become the seniors of tomorrow. So it's not only talking about the seniors of today. And how, therefore, do we better equip ourselves, equip all of society to actually harness that demographic change to the fullest? And this means revisiting existing mindsets, stereotypes about aging, and looking at what can be done and should be done to actually prepare for what's upon us versus thinking about, what interventions have to be made. With all things in life, the more prepared we are, the better we will be to really enjoy our longer lives. And so it's not just adding years to life, but actually adding life to years.
And why does this mindset shift matter so much now? And also, what does aging well with dignity, purpose, and joy really look like? What's it mean to you?
I am proud to say I joined the ranks of the super aged about 2 months ago, so I'm 65. I feel great. I don't think that I'm old, but society is kind of reminding me that I'm old. And that's something that I feel needs to be addressed, right? That mindset shift. I have still so much to offer society, lots to contribute. And all people, regardless young or old, want to actually have a purpose in life, to work, to exercise, to meet your family and friends and all that. And that's a basic right that should be accorded to all people. It should not be any less important as one ages. If nothing else, it should become even more important because isolation is increasingly showing up as one of the leading causes of downfall when people get older.
Maybe we should start a little earlier, thinking about it differently. We should start doing that earlier because it's kind of a lifelong journey, right?
Absolutely.
So how does DBS Foundation think about supporting people at every stage then, from youth to families to older adults?
So it's about longevity, about living life to the fullest at every stage of your life. And the sooner you start off well, the better your chances are of being able to be prepared physically, mentally, socially, and of course, financially as you continue on that journey of life. The way we look at it is, again, it's about aging societies, not just only about caregiving. Although caregiving, I do stress that it's really, really important. When somebody needs caregiving and we need to provide that, the opportunity to improve the person's outlook in the ongoing years decreases the later we actually start preparing it. We want to give everybody that chance to age with dignity, purpose, and joy. So the sooner we start to prepare versus intervene at the later stage, the better. Also, I think Singapore is looking towards aging in place increasingly. So that doesn't mean sending someone off to a good home to be looked after, but it actually means living with seniors, living with younger generations. And I think that intergenerational interactions is very important and makes a huge difference. Not just caring for our elders, but it's living with. It's not just looking at aged people, but aged societies. And it's not only about intervening when something goes wrong, but to reduce that recurrence or that from happening, the sooner we start preparing, start saving, for your retirement, the earlier you start, the better the compounding effect. The sooner you start eating healthier, exercising, the stronger one will be when one grows older. These are sort of basic principles that we all need to apply versus thinking it will just go along, naturally in life. And then suddenly when you hit 65, you think like, oh dear, what do I do now? By which time it could be too little too late. Yeah.
You've started these new programs like the ITE Partnership and Kids Start. How do these early stage initiatives help set people up for that healthier, happier life as they grow older?
Our programs are actually rooted in some basic principles, such as ensuring that those with less given an equal opportunity to succeed or at least to kind of have a head start in life. So, for example, with Kids Start, effectively this targets expectant mothers. And that's a very stressful time if you're expecting. And, some of those stresses scientifically has shown that it transmits somehow to the development of the baby. So we want to make sure that the baby is well developed and has a head start in life. With ITE, many of the students come from backgrounds whereby they have to supplement family incomes, and so they have to take on extra jobs. We want to make sure that they are able to focus all their energies on their schoolwork such that they're able to finish school, and then we mentor them to make sure that they're able to then transition into the workforce and find and hold down good jobs. Again, such that they are able to be gainfully employed and to be able to help themselves and their families. So all this is about not just looking at the symptom per se, but looking at the root cause to ensure that we're able to at least spark or catalyze some form of improvement such that it would ensure that the next cycle, the next generation, the next phase of life is better than the preceding one.
Still to come, what might a whole of society effort look like? And why does DBSF do so much work around digital and financial inclusion? More with Karen Ngui from DBS Foundation in a moment.
And now back to BT Podcast in collaboration with DBS.
Karen, DBS Foundation works with so many partners, social enterprises, charities, and even government agencies. What does a real whole of society effort look like in practice? And why do you think collaboration is so important?
Yes. Now, I spoke earlier about that paradigm shift, about how we look at aging. One other shift is we've got fantastic individual contributors, social service agencies, government bodies, corporate foundations. More often than not, it's done in a monoline fashion. But aging, as with life, is complex and it's interlinked and interconnected. So I think the better we can galvanize and harness the contributions from the broader ecosystem and connect the dots, the better our chances are of really making that shift where societies can actually address and aging well, can harness the longevity dividend, and everyone, regardless of background, can actually age with dignity, purpose, and joy.
We see a lot of stereotypes still, though, Karen, around aging. From what you've observed, what are some stories or examples that you could tell us that really challenge those old assumptions?
I'm quite a sporty person, and so I still run marathons. And people kind of tell me, it's like, oh, but you're you're in your 60s and you're still running marathons. And I'm thinking like, yes, and thank you for reminding me. But there are many older people who actually are even more health conscious and actually take on more endurance sports and feats and all that. You have your chronological age, but you can work on actually reducing your biological age. We've seen many people who've started off a new career, a second career, become entrepreneurs or started to focus on giving back to the community and society. So looking at that third act in life, that new stage, whereby you have the opportunity to think about what really matters and have the time and the experience and the skill sets to actually give back and contribute.
And a lot of the work that DBS Foundation does is about digital and financial inclusion. Why do you think these skills like financial literacy or digital confidence matter so much?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. We feel that these skill sets are essential skills required in today's very wired world. So the foundation looks at equipping segments that are not so fortunate with basic essentials, food, shelter, education. And financial and digital literacy skills are also daily essentials because it's hard to get by these days if you're unable to do your digital banking over your phone or order your food online and things like that. So this is part of being able to also include and integrate and build a more inclusive society such that the elders, the seniors, don't feel cut out. We all couldn't imagine life today without having our devices with us. And so it's how do we equip them with the skill sets required to at least at a basic level use their devices, including also awareness on scams, because we do want to also educate the seniors about this prevalence of scams. We also want to equip them with new skills like how to use AI and all the new AI tools that comes about. That way they can connect with the younger people. They can feel that they're also keeping in tandem with the latest trends. So I think it's about being inclusive and not letting age become a barrier. You are what you think you are. And if you don't think you're old and it's just a number, then I think it just unlocks so many possibilities.
With so many initiatives which cover such a wide range, young families, supporting seniors, digital skills even, how do you decide where the biggest needs are? How do you make sure that the support actually reaches the people who need it the most, Karen?
At the DBS Foundation, we actually believe in making every day better and every tomorrow brighter. Every day better means that we focus on providing essential needs. With so many uncertainties in life, it's hard to get by if you're sort of worried about the basic essentials. With regard to every tomorrow brighter, we want to be able to at least catalyze systemic change. And we think that, given in the wired world that we live in today, financial and digital literacy skills are really important. So the programs might seem wide-ranging, but at the core of it, this is what drives our thought process. And every need is an important need, but we also look at measuring the impact and the change that we're able to effect. And I think that drives our thought process and selection.
And of course, you have your grant program and the newer Impact Beyond Award, which
That's right.
celebrate and support organizations making a real difference. How do these reflect the foundation's belief that no matter where partners are, whether supporting youth, families, or seniors, that DBS wants to walk the journey with them?
Yeah. We are very much part and parcel of society. And philanthropy today isn't just about arm's length giving money and funding. It's about enabling change, enabling sustainable and enduring change. And the best way we can enable it is not only through funds, but through capacity building, through mentorship, through opening up networks and all that. So we look at things on a very holistic basis, which is why we do want to partner with these organizations. We do want to learn from them, and we want them to also learn from other partners that we have, which is why we'd like to gather, annually a community to kind of share best practices, because the aging challenges we face in Singapore are not that markedly different, for example, from in Hong Kong or other countries. There's much to be said about sharing, and there's much to be said about joining the dots such that the whole can be a lot greater than the sum of the parts. Yeah.
Karen, I wish we had more time. Thank you for your insights today and for being so candid.
Thank you, and thank you for your interest in this subject. There is a 10-year gap between health spans and lifespans in Singapore. If we are able to bridge that gap, then I think we will have not just a longer lifespan, but a longer living span, where everyone is actually living with dignity, purpose, and joy. Not just being alive, but actually living life to the fullest, yeah.
Karen Ngui, Managing Director and Head, DBS Foundation and DBS Group Strategic Marketing and Communications. This has been BT Podcast by the Business Times. I'm Howie Lim.
This episode of BT Podcast was produced in collaboration with DBS.
This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts.